Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Gibran Hernandez.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Realty Ruckus out of the White Picket Realty Studios. I am your host, Gibran Hernandez. Sitting next to me, your producers, Gibran Hernandez and David Bonilla, here to help your real estate business grow. Before we get started, we have a phenomenal show planned out for you guys today, as always. But before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about how crazy this week has been, man. Like, it's been non-stop for some reason.
It's been a little crazy.
I know, but like crazy in a good way, though. Like, so usually, you get summer, everybody kind of gets busy. So you have two things that happen during the summer generally in real estate. Either you've prepped real well for it and you're busy. You're busy out showing, you're busy out, whatever you're doing. Whatever it is your job is to do, you're doing it. And you're doing it full force in the summer. Yeah. Or you didn't prep at all. And now you're kind of hitting that slump,
now
right?
You're trying to catch up on some leads.
And you're trying real hard to catch up on some leads.
Or you tell yourself that you're on vacation, but the reality is you just don't have anything. No, it's cool, man. I'm on vacation right now. Don't worry about me.
I have decided to start my vacation mode early. But, but not today. Not today. Actually, this week.
When do you go on vacation?
I go on vacation. I leave on the 29th.
Okay.
And I will be back on the 13th.
Okay. So, wow. You're 2 full weeks.
2 full weeks. I need it so badly, you guys.
I bet, man.
Badly.
Your assistant is raising the roof.
My assistant is over there celebrating.
I don't know why he's raising the roof. He's going to be working double time. Yeah.
I know, right?
Just because he's not here doesn't mean you get the day off.
He feels like when I go on vacation, he goes on vacation.
He's on look at him. Yeah. He's on vacation mode already.
Two buttons off his shirt. Look at him.
2 buttons down, man.
So this week I got a chance to first off speak at 2 really, really great
That was
events.
awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
That was first off, I want to thank the people that are putting these events together. So one of them was Bobby Bryan from Ask Doss. If you guys have not heard of the new technology that he's rolling out, it's going to probably revolutionize the way real estate works. And I love that I was able to be a part of that. I was on a panel with some other very, very knowledgeable brokers here in town. And we got a chance to share a little bit about what we saw coming in the future of real estate. One of the things that we all agreed to, and it kind of went hand in hand with yesterday's event, which was Eddie Gant's event. That's the Jet Lending Happy Hour. They do that every month.
Every third Wednesday of the month.
Every third Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
Last night, it was kind of funny because we thought there was going to be a huge pour of rain down here, and
come through and
we thought
hey, man, I don't even believe it. Whenever they say that there's going to be a huge storm in Houston, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, and
you never know, man.
I feel like people were worried about going to this place because
it's outdoors. They
were outdoors and they were going to get rained on. But man, that place was packed. They had just an amazing turnout, food, drinks, and a phenomenal panel. Of course, yours truly got a chance to be on that panel. And one of the things that we talked about, and I got a chance to share a little bit about it yesterday, is the changes that I saw happening from 2006, 2005, when I first got into real estate, to today. And the biggest change that I can attribute, that I can literally say I saw happen, was the fact that in our market, and this apparently this is not something that happens in every market. In our market here in Houston, there are so many people willing to just share their experiences, willing to share what works, willing to help others. And I don't remember that when I first started. I mean, I remember sitting at my original brokerage where I first started and not getting any of that kind of feedback, even within the office. Everybody was like, well, this is what I do. You can't know about it. So I got a chance to share some of that yesterday with the crowd. People really liked it. I got some good feedback on that.
That had to do with the culture of America in the early 2000s, though.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, you look at companies like Enron and things like that were running late 90s, early 2000s, and that was the culture was cutthroat. Yeah. It was who is the best. Yeah. Remember, they even had policies where you would get fired if you were like in the bottom 10% or something. Yeah. It was like 20%. Bottom 20%, you were automatically cut. People have gotten rid of all of that. But yeah, that was a different beast back then. It was either you're the best or get out of here. Yeah. And I'm not sharing what I have, because if I share with you, I might not be the best anymore and I may be gone out of the business. And you're right, it doesn't feel that way anymore. There's very much a a community now.
Yeah.
You can go in there and you can ask anybody, a person who's been around forever and a person who just started, anything you want at these events.
And they'll tell you.
And they'll give you the answers. It's amazing.
Exactly what they're doing.
There's no secrets to real estate. That people make it seem like there's some magic golden secret.
No.
And there's really not. It's just, this is the things you do and a lot of hard work that goes along with it.
Yeah, there is no magic to it. You just got to do the work. And people forget about that sometimes. And so that's why, we wanted to share some of that with you guys. And actually today's show, we're going to share a couple of the things that we discussed in our social media workshop this week. Because one of the things that came up yesterday was the fact that not everyone out there understands what the heck they're doing on social media.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm starting to realize most people are completely lost. It's
true.
crazy how this works, man. Just because we may understand it real well, everyone else out there doesn't.
Well, it's one thing to be on social media. It's another thing to be doing things on social media. And then there's another thing altogether to be doing things with a purpose on social media.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get confused. They
right.
think just because they're doing with a purpose.
I had somebody come up to me and say, well, I like to live a private life. I said, you don't need to be in business.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, All right, we got to take a quick commercial break. You guys are on the Realty Ruckus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Gibran Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, yesterday was a pour down of a storm, and today we've got a little bit more cloudy, rainy weather. See, I'm not very good at doing the weather. David, what's the weather going to be like?
Guys, man, Tropical Storm Cindy was just blowing a bunch of hot air, it looks like. So we're not getting any precipitation until Saturday. We have an 80% chance on Saturday. And the highs will be in the high 80s, low 90s through the weekend, and lows in the mid 70s. So it's going to be kind of muggy, a little bit rainy, but don't expect any too much severe weather this weekend.
All right, well that sounds good. That's better than what we thought yesterday. We thought everyone thought Houston was going to flood again yesterday.
Oh, dude, I talked to at least 4 people yesterday who kept telling me, man, I hope it doesn't flood again. And I was like, man, I hope it doesn't flood either.
That's the thing about Houston, though. You never know. Like it could be just a tiny little storm, and we literally will be,
Oh, it's funny, man, because
swimming in our backyard or something.
I remember being a kid, and I remember being excited about when it was going to rain and flood, because it meant that we didn't have to go to school.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, yeah, it's flooding outside.
You're right, I remember that.
And our house never took in water. We were lucky. Our neighbors always took in water, but our house never took in water.
Yeah.
So to us, flooding was like
one of the greatest things.
Yeah, it was like that thing that happens to everybody but us. You know, it has an impact on everyone except for us.
We go outside and play.
And the only thing I get is a day off of school. And so now as an adult, I hear it's going to rain. And in Houston, you hear even a small amount of rain, you're like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, man, please don't flood.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone who's getting ready to move to Houston. And she told me, she said, you know, Houston seems like a really cultural city. She's coming from New Orleans. And I said, well, yeah, there's a lot of culture here. She said, what's the number one worst thing you'd have to tell me about Houston? I said, honestly, we have horrible drivers.
Yeah, I was going to say the drivers.
Yeah, we have horrible drivers. And I said, and if I had to throw something else in, is that recently in the last 5 years, we flood. We flood once a year now.
Yeah.
And that's really awful. So it's good whenever we get a tropical storm that comes through and doesn't just knocks over the lawn chairs and that's it.
Yeah, we're happy about that.
That's a good thing.
Absolutely. All right, so we started talking a little bit about what we shared in the other panels that I was on this week, and how we got into some real estate, Facebook marketing tactics, and actually later on in the show we're going to be discussing some of the things we learned in the social media pro workshop that we held earlier this week as well. But before we get to that, we want to bring up something that we found really, really interesting. It's actually a post on Craigslist.
Yeah.
And
you guys might have seen this one before.
And I'm sure that some of you have already seen it, but I don't know if everyone has. So and I think it's definitely worth bringing up so that everyone can understand.
Oh man, the way that the real estate community parties, they've probably already forgot about this one.
Right.
So let's just remind them of it, bring it back into their memory.
We'd love to share this with you guys. So which one of you guys wants to read this thing?
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, there we go, David.
It was posted it was actually in the Austin Craigslist, and it says, Realtor looking for people to do their job at a discount.
This is such an Austin thing to post, man.
I know,
Only
right?
an Austinite would post something like this. Yeah, keep going.
So he says, I am a realtor, and since people always expect me to cut my commission, I assume they must also do their job or provide their services at a discount. I am looking to hire all types of people to do all sorts of jobs for me, as long as I do not have to pay what you're actually worth. I'm sure you have lots of extra time on your hands, and you probably make enough money anyway. Think about it. Helping me will actually help yourself, because I know a ton of people, and I'll tell them what wonderful discounted work you do.
It's funny because how often do you hear that? Hey, if you do it for 1%, I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'll refer a lot of people to you.
So if you have a job or service you provide and are willing to devalue your worth, please let me know, because I'm sure I have work for you and I will hire you in a second. Feel free to email me with the service you can provide, when you can start, and please include references. I look forward to your discounted service. Thanks.
That's my favorite part right there at the end. And please include references. I know that you're already discounting way below what you're worth and that you don't feel like you're being properly compensated, but I want to make sure that you're legit at the same time.
Yeah.
We see this all the time. And to me, it's like you don't walk into Best Buy, and maybe some of you do. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe I don't walk into places like Best Buy or Macy's and do this, and maybe other people do. But I don't go in here and go, oh yeah, that TV over there. Can you give it to me for like 50% off of what it's listed for on the wall? You did that. They'd be like, no. Well, what do you mean no? Like I know a lot of friends who buy electronics. Come on, I'll send them over here to Best Buy.
Have you seen my friends list on Facebook?
I'll let them all know what a great purchase I made at Best Buy and how you guys hooked me up with 50% off. Like that doesn't work in any other industry. But for some reason in real estate, everyone expects you to devalue your services. And here's the worst part. It feels like sometimes it comes from the people that you're closest to.
Yeah.
Like your friends and your family are the ones that are like, hey, will you lower your commission for me?
Yep.
And it's like, hey, man, you're an accountant.
Yeah.
I don't call you when it's tax season and say, hey, do you want to do my taxes for half of what you normally charge?
Right?
Yeah. Or like your buddy that's a plumber or something. When he comes out, he might give you a small friends and family discount, but you don't expect him to cut his services in half or by a third, which is usually what somebody who wants a discount expects. They want you to list their house for 1% or 2% at the most. So they're asking you to take a 33% hit. And what a lot of people don't realize is how much money you put in up front on a listing, and you're not getting compensated anything during that time.
And until you're successul, until you do a good job, basically.
Until you can get the thing sold, you don't get anything, and sometimes you lose it, and you've made zero. Or you've made negative. You've taken a loss because of that, and they never come running to you going, hey, I know you were doing it at a discount for me because we're buddies. So let me give you the money for the loss that you took. No, instead it's like, oh, I'm so upset with this service is. I was going to pay him a full 1%, and he didn't get my house sold, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because that realtor doesn't have the budget to do it anymore. They can't actually go out there and spend any marketing dollars if they're only making 1%. That's basically what they're going to use to live off of, and they end up living from house to house instead of paycheck to paycheck.
It's interesting because we were looking at Uber. I posted an article the other day about Uber on Facebook and how Uber drivers actually run at a net loss. And when we come back from the break, unfortunately, I'm being told that we got to get to a commercial break. Usually it's me cutting everyone off, but this time Brandon is cutting me off. So we got to take a quick commercial break. When we could come back, I'm going to show you guys how some realtors out there are actually running their business into debt rather than running it into making a profit. We're going to talk about that when we get back. You're on the Realty Ruckus. We'll be back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us live during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, before we went off to the break, I was talking about this article that I posted. It talks about Uber drivers and how a lot of Uber drivers out there feel like they're making money because they're getting cash when they do their rides, and on a weekly basis when they get paid, they get cash in hand. But they're not taking into consideration the amount of money that they spend on gas, the amount of money they spend on maintenance on their car, oil changes, depreciation of the vehicle, tires, brakes, all of those things add up over time. Yeah. And the federal government says it's about 54 cents a mile, right? That's why they give you that deduction on your taxes. That's what they've calculated. And you got to understand, that's also the federal government being conservative, which means it's probably a higher number than that.
Yeah, but they're not going to base that off of like a new car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the average that the federal government says is what is taken off. So a lot of people don't realize it, and we don't realize it when you're working here in the business, but there's a lot of agents out there who are doing the exact same thing. They think they're making money because they're getting a paycheck at the end, but they haven't taken into consideration along the way everything that they've spent on either that buyer or that listing. Yeah. Because you have to think about, okay, I drove around. I know agents who drive around for 12 hours a day showing houses. It's crazy to me, but they do it. And you got to take into consideration all the gas that they spent that day, all the use on their vehicle, the tires, everything. It's no different than being a taxi when you're driving that around. And then in addition to that, you're having to spend money to do your marketing up front. You're having to spend money to keep, if it's a listing, you have to do things for a listing, pay for the pictures, or you go take ugly pictures on your phone and on a house that's never going to sell. And at the end of the day, yes, they get a check and they're like, hey, well, I made $7,000 or I made $8,000. Yeah. And it's like, well, did you really?
What about all your expenses?
Where are your expenses at?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't that much. You hear a lot of people who don't want to face the fact that they spent more than they made, and they're actually running at a deficit. They're running negative. It's almost like a payroll express or whatever they call that. The companies that lend you money to get your cash out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just another form of indebtedness when you're not making enough to actually cover your expenses, and when you allow the client to tell you what your expenses are worth. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like a plumber coming to your house and saying, I have a repair.
It's the realtor's fault, though. At the end of the day, we have created our own mess, and now we're swimming in it.
And how was that mess created? What does that mess look like?
That mess was created by the brand new agent who comes into the market, doesn't understand what real value is, how to create a real experience for that client, how to actually help them instead of just driving them around aimlessly or throwing up a listing without an actual marketing plan. And because they're not actually bringing any value, they're willing to charge 1%, or they're willing to charge $100 and whatever the flat fee agents are doing. And what that does is there's a notion out there with the prospective buyer or seller that potential service is available at that price.
And then they expect everybody to do it.
And then they expect everyone to do it.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is that's a different service. That flat fee agent is a completely different service than the full service agent who literally has a plan, who understands marketing, who understands social media, who understands how to run a Facebook ad targeted to the potential buyer, who is actually doing a 3D video walkthrough, who's doing professional pictures, who isn't just putting black and white paper with the info, who's actually printing out something nice, something of quality.
I've seen that so many times where they just print out the MLS listing.
I've gone to $1 million listings, and it's the MLS listing printed out of the home computer.
Oh my gosh!
With the streaks going down the middle,
Yeah.
So it drives me crazy because that's $1 million listing. They're making decent money on that. Spend $100 and put together some nice marketing materials. And it's not about just necessarily you making your listing look good and impressing the people that are walking it or whatnot. It's also about all the neighbors that go by and walk that house and say, wow, what a great presentation. This guy's doing an amazing job. I should potentially hire him.
Yeah. And I feel like a part of the mess is not only the agents that are brand new or whoever it might be. I mean, the other day I saw a car on the road. It was a RE/MAX agent that said, "Stop overpaying for a realtor. Houston's premier 1% agent."
Yeah.
This is somebody whose entire business model is run around being the person that charges 66% less than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, they provide 66% or more less of services.
Yeah.
But that's one problem. I think the other problem is the people that are out there that don't know what they're doing, charging the 3%. Because then people liken them to everybody else who's charging 3%. Yeah. And they go, well, there's no value in 3%. That last agent, all they did was put my house on the MLS.
Yeah. This other guy will do the same thing for 1%.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, and he's going to syndicate it to 700 different websites. Look, that's what it says here on this flyer. Yeah. And that's the marketing plan. I mean, I saw it. We got the other day a marketing plan from an agent. And the second page of that marketing plan was, I'm going to put your house on the MLS, and it's going to go on 700 different websites because of that. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that actually goes with everybody, and that's not a special service. That's just step one of doing a listing.
So here's the thing. The sellers, the consumer, not just the sellers, but the buyers too, they have so much access to information right now. So like in the olden days, the access to information was so limited because of limited resources. Even when the internet didn't exist, of course, it was even more limited. But now we have internet. Now we have Facebook. We have all sorts of forums. We have all sorts of ways to acquire free and readily available information that most sellers actually do believe that they can do the job by themselves, and that all you're doing is literally putting it on MLS. And there is a problem with that agent that only does that.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. That's their only plan. Hey, I'm going to throw it on MLS and I'm going to syndicate it. Well, sellers now know that you're not actually doing anything to syndicate it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
When you throw it on hard, it gets syndicated automatically. You're not doing anything special. You're not doing anything extra. So one of the things that, because we get some of this feedback from the sellers that we meet with every once in a while, one of the things that we encourage the sellers to do, if they let us know, hey, I'm also going to be meeting with another agent, we let them know, hey, make sure you are asking these questions when meeting with some of the other agents.
That's right, so they can do a true comparison between services.
We want them to really compare apples to apples.
Absolutely.
And ask them how they're going to target your target market. You know, and who is your target market? Who is your potential candidate buyer for this home? How did they come up with that? And how do they plan on actually targeting? And if they say something like, "Oh, well, we're just gonna put it on MLS and syndicate it," that's the wrong answer.
Yeah. If
you're here, syndicate, right?
If that's the first or the second page of the presentation, you need to be like, Realty Ruckus said that everybody does this.
Hopefully you guys that are watching out there have somehow found a way to not do that. And don't sell your services short. I mean, in my opinion, you should be looking to provide more value and charge more.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of taking your fee down and providing less value, you should find ways to add on items. And instead of doing 6%, do a 6.5%, do a 7%.
Man. It's one of the most amazing things. And this is, I think this was in the comment. I don't even remember which book it was in. I've read so many books in these last couple of months. It's amazing. But it was in one of them. And he talks about knowing your self-worth because others know what you're worth, even if you don't.
Yeah.
And others will know whether they think that you are actually a 3% agent and you're discounting to 1%. And that they will still expect that 3% job, even though you're only charging them 1%. And then when you become unhappy and miserable because you're only charging 1%, you're like, oh my God, why did I do this? Why did I put myself into this? Okay, fine. I'm just going to put it on MLS and syndicate it to 700 websites because I only charged 1%. And then that person's going to get really upset because they want the 3% you. Yeah. They want the version of you that they know that you're worth, but they wanted you at a discount.
Sure.
And he says, don't sell yourself short. Know your value.
You know what happens there? Is you're working, you're getting things done, and you run into a snag on the road. They don't want to show the house. They have some issues. They don't want to close. There's a title problem. All of the potential million things that can happen when you're processing a transaction.
Yep.
And you start thinking about it as, I'm not being paid enough for this.
Yep.
I'm not being paid enough to answer the 9 p.m. phone call or the 6 in the morning call to whine and cry and ruins your day type deal. You start feeling that way.
Yeah, you do.
I can tell you right now, we have a couple clients right now that we're making more than the 6%. And that's one of the main reasons they're still being serviced at a full level, even though they're very, very hard clients.
Yeah.
But heck, we're being compensated well enough to make sure that we are servicing those people.
Yeah, you don't feel any resentment. And it's not even a resentment towards the client that you really feel. It's a resentment towards yourself for selling yourself short. For knowing, man, I'm worth more. For knowing, hey, I could have charged more for this, yet I didn't. And I sold myself short. And now I'm stuck here in the middle of a transaction. And look, there's people out there who'll jump out of it. Who'll say, hey, I can't do this anymore. But people who have some dignity to themselves, they won't do that. Yeah. They'll make it to the end, but they will beat themselves up over it the entire time. So you just got to be smart from it from day one and know what you're worth. And don't sell yourself short in order to get the client. That goes to any business. That goes to whether you're a lender, whether you're a realtor, whether you sell widgets online.
Yeah.
It's knowing what you're worth or what your product and services are worth.
Don't be the cheapest guy in town.
No, not at all. And it's not even about being the cheapest or the most expensive. It's about pricing your services at what you truly believe your services are worth.
Yeah.
Forget about what the other guys are charging.
You know, I wonder why a company as big as RE/MAX would even allow an agent to do that. Would even allow an agent to brand themselves in that manner.
As the 1% agent.
You would imagine that someone with...
Because they're still collecting their monthly fees from that asshat and they don't care.
I don't know.
But you know what though? There's companies that have huge standards. Look at Apple. Apple Computer will not allow a retailer to discount their computers at all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I agree with that. I think that bigger brokerages should institute those same type of rules. I really think they don't care because
they lose a little bit of respect by doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it diminishes the brand. It diminishes the way that people will actually look at it from the outside in. If I wouldn't let one of our realtors do it, I can tell you that much.
No, we're very much against that.
If somebody came into my office and said, I'm going to start running this ad or put this on my car, I'd be like, I guess you got to go to Remax or whatever.
Yeah, we tell them you can get grandma a discount, but even then, I don't even like it.
I don't want you marketing it. I don't want you throwing it out there like it's gonna be your best sales strategy.
I can't count the number of times I've had an agent come into my office and say, hey, Gibran, I want to discount a listing because it's for a friend of mine or it's for a family member, and I'm going to do it for 1%. And I always say, look, if you really want to do it for 1%, then I'll allow it. I'll talk to Alan and we'll clear it out so that you can do it at 1% because it's a special circumstance. I said, but I can tell you something. You're not going to be happy.
Yep.
And almost every single time, by the end of that transaction, they come back into my office to tell me how freaking crazy and psycho their friends and family members are and how they can't stand dealing with them.
It's so true.
And they don't want to work with them anymore and that they only charge 1% and they're not even getting compensated for it. How often does that happen?
Here's the other crazy part. If you look at it from the brokerage perspective, so the broker training a new agent, right? The broker's training a new agent. You're bringing a client. It's your aunt who you really love, but she's got a couple screws loose, and then you come to me as a new agent, right? A brand new agent, and you've only charged 1%, and you want me to fix all these problems, but at 1%, I mean, seriously, how am I supposed to help you? I mean, like you're not, even if I do anything to help you fix all of that, there's not even enough spread for you.
Hey, you just got to remind them. Did you put on MLS and syndicate it to 700 different websites?
I don't know what else you could have done.
I don't know
I guess
what
that's
else
all
to
you can do. We have to take a quick commercial break, you guys. You guys are on the Realty Ruckus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, we were just having a really good discussion about knowing how to value yourself, knowing your self-worth, not discounting your services, and particularly because this is the Realty Ruckus, we were talking about it in the terms, how does this work for realtors?
Yeah.
Now, we want to give people advice on how to make sure that they are providing that full 3% value, that they are giving their worth, and that they're not just syndicating it and doing what everybody else is doing. Yeah, we already know that, all right? We know that.
We got it.
But what can we be doing? And this goes back to the workshop that we had here just the other day. It's the Super Ninja Social Media Marketing Workshop.
Yeah, that was yesterday. That was an awesome workshop.
Amazing workshop. All of our agents are already implementing it. I saw them. People are going live. People are posting things. And it's amazing. There's people who, if you look at their other live videos that they've done, they had maybe like 100 views at the most, 50 views. And some of the agents now are up to 400, 500 views. It starts penetrating when people you do it regularly and you start doing it with a purpose and intention, then you can start making things move.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think about what realtors used to do back in the day for marketing. And if you think about it, there was a lot of money being exchanged for putting your face in shopping carts and putting your face in billboards.
I still see some of those.
Or I mean newspapers or yellow pages or any of the print media per se. In my opinion, nowadays you still have some print media available, but it's for branding purposes only.
So for the right price, you still stick your face on the shopping cart.
Well, maybe. I mean, if it's in a neighborhood that you're trying to penetrate and trying to make sure that your face is known, you might do that. But you're not necessarily drumming up new clients from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a way for people to start kind of seeing your name and
just so your brand is more recognizable.
Exactly, and it might be okay to do that in a neighborhood where your average age is, of retirement age or so. I mean, let's be real here. Right now, the only I was gonna say not a lot of older people are on Facebook, but I just thought about the fact that my grandma's on Facebook.
Hey, I am officially unblocked. I'm officially unblocked, man. Yeah, nice. I'm friends again.
That's the thing. Now everyone is going towards social media. Everyone, and marketing is going in that direction. So if you aren't thinking as an agent in terms of how marketing is going, where it's moving to, and understanding that those new aspects, you're being left behind. Yep. There's no doubt about it. And that old agent, who is just putting it on MLS and letting it syndicate, they're not providing a full 3% service or a full 6% service anymore. Because it's not about that anymore. Now, look, you can be an agent for the absolute smallest brokerage in town. You may have 2 agents that work at that brokerage.
Yeah.
But if that agent understands how to use social media, that agent can contact a ton of agents, hundreds of them on a daily basis, people who have all closed in that same neighborhood. They can actually syndicate the listing to the neighborhood.
To the neighborhood
page.
Are you talking about like in the presentation when they say, and I will call 5 realtors that have closed in the area?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
That makes 5? Sense. I mean, why would you stop at 5 if you can find a way to reach
group there.
100 or 1,000?
Man, because 5 is a lot of work.
It's crazy. Now with the ability to mass communicate, there's really no reason to just do 5.
Yeah, I agree.
And so there's no real value, in my opinion, on saying, well, this person works at a huge brokerage with 300 agents who are going to know about my listing. Bull. If you have a good agent, you could be at the smallest brokerage, and they will make sure that 300 or 500 or 1,000 agents know about your listing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's, in my opinion, that's providing value nowadays. Now, providing value isn't necessarily just going out there and getting the listing and then throwing it on MLS. Now it's also understanding marketing and driving traffic to that listing. You're driving traffic to that listing consistently, and of course, problem solving along the way. Yeah. And the way I see it, the person that solves the most problems makes the most money. But one of the biggest problems that we have right now...
Did you take that out of Ashley's book of Ashleyisms?
That sounds like an Ashleyism.
It sounds like an Ashleyism. I'm not sure. Yeah, I love that one.
Can we look that one up? If not, we'll give him credit for it and add it in there. Ashley, thank you so much. He's not here today, but he's still speaking through us. Yeah. So
he'll be back on the show on Tuesday.
So that's what it is, man.
Yeah.
You're driving traffic and you're keeping people from getting into falling into the pitfalls. And when things come up along the way, as they always do, you're there to help them solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it. That, in my opinion, you have at that point really given them a good experience. You've kept them from making any really damaging decisions, and you're being paid handsomely for it, and you should be. And you should be, because not everyone should be able to do your job.
Yeah, you're valuing yourself. You're giving yourself the worth that you know that you're worth.
I think a good way to gauge it is if anyone else could do what you're doing for that client, then you're probably not giving enough. You should find.
Hey, yeah, that's a nice way to look at it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the things that we learned in our social media workshop, because that kind of goes in line with everything that our agents and anyone that's out there who watches the show. And by the way, these are all things that you can do as an investor, as a lender, as a realtor, heck, as a broker. We have a couple brokers that watch our show, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
I'm honored to have that, because I love the fact that we are an organization that does not mind sharing what we know for the benefit of the industry.
Yeah, close the vault. Shut it. We're shutting it down. Close the vault. We're giving out too many secrets. That's it.
Well, hey, real quick before we get into the social media workshop that we had, I wanted to give the audience out there a few statistics as far as Facebook goes, so they understand the impact that Facebook can have on their business. So in the U.S., 80% of adults who have online access have a Facebook account.
80?
80%.
Oh my gosh,
that's adults,
man.
18 plus. So 80% of adults who have online access, which is the great majority of the U.S., have a Facebook. On the other hand, the average person spends about 4.8 hours a day on their phone, and I'm sure a lot of that is on Facebook. So you literally have people's attention in the palm of their hands.
People spend 5 hours a day on their, I guess including phone calls and everything, yeah. I spend more than that on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Average of 5 hours a day is true.
And then I know you started tracking your time at one point, and you said, shit, they're right.
5 hours a day, right on here. Yeah. I mean, that's within phone calls and with...
Brandon's going to get... Brandon says 10 hours a day.
Man. I have 5 hours a day logged in on a daily basis on this thing. I'm pretty sure that most people out there are doing about the same. Obviously, some people are on Facebook or social media more than others. But regardless, that's about what you're going to spend on your phone on a daily basis.
Okay, so last year, Facebook released in their earnings statement, they released the amount of time that people are actually spending on their platform because they track it.
Oh, awesome.
It's 50 minutes a day.
50 minutes a day.
50 minutes a day that they're spending between Facebook, Instagram, and their...
Does it say how many users it has in the U.S.? Because I know it's over 1 billion worldwide.
It's 1.65 billion worldwide. I'll find how many users there are in the U.S. But that's they're spending on average 50 minutes per day.
And I'm sure it's in the millions in the U.S. So you can literally reach millions of people who are going to be on that platform for at least an hour a day. You can't guarantee a person's going to be an hour in the grocery store. You can't guarantee they're going to drive past your billboard. You can't guarantee they're going to pick up those yellow pages. Yeah. With this, it's almost certain.
It's certain that they're going to be on there for an hour. So you might as well be posting or doing something on there.
So let's give them some tips. I mean, you had a great workshop, Alan. I was really impressed with it. I learned a few things.
Wait. My marketing guy,
your social media guy,
my marketing director learned something from me. That is wild.
There's one thing I learned, all right? Calm down. It was a really good workshop. I had to commend you for it.
Brandon said he learned something too. He still won't tell me what he learned, but I'm glad I was able to deliver something. So I'm glad that my 5 hours a day on my phone has
you're getting something done.
Somehow accumulated to me bringing value to it. So we talked a little bit about how to organically create leads from your current friends list. So what we started seeing that was happening is, so we started bringing in new agents, right?
Yeah.
We started bringing in new agents. We've actually brought in quite a few in the last few months. I'm really happy to say we just took in our
19th.
Our 19th agent. So one more to get to 20, and then we have till next June to hit our 100.
Yeah, we will hit it.
So we're on track for that. We love that. And one of the things that we noticed is we have agents who are coming in and then looking through my friends list and saying, all right, well, friend. I'm just going to add all of Alan's friends, you know?
And that's who I should add.
And out of that, you guys asked for his number. 214 million users.
Okay, 214 million. What's the population of the U.S.? Like 350?
It's like 330 million.
330
so we're talking
million.
about the vast majority of the U.S.
About 60% of the U.S.
The majority of people will be on Facebook.
That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're not learning these things, if you don't understand how this works, you're being left out. Anyway, long story short, we found out that everyone was friending my friends.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. You guys can all friend my friends if you want. That's a great thing. But your audience is going to be different. And Facebook, the way that they work right now, it's if you've ever set up a website, it's based on relevancy. So if you make a post, and your friends don't like it, you are considered irrelevant.
Sorry, bye Felicia.
Plain and simple, you're not considered a relevant poster. You're not considered someone that brings relevant postings or information to the world. So they basically just don't show it to anyone. That's pretty much the way it works. Yeah. If you want your post to show on people's what do they call it? The walls.
Yeah, their
feed. If you want it to show on their feed, excuse me, then you actually have to get some likes. But the question is, how do you get likes? Yes. How do you actually have people interact? And not just getting likes. You want them to make a little comment, and then you want to make a comment back. But how do you orchestrate all that? Because it doesn't just happen just for no reason, right?
It starts with being human and not being robotic.
Yes.
So for example, if you own a body shop, and I just threw a body shop out there because we always talk about real estate.
I'm glad you're mentioning this. I'll have something to say to add to that.
Yeah, so if you owned a body shop and all you did was post on there, look at all these cars I fixed. Come over to my body shop. Yeah. You can fix your car here in my body shop. Yeah. And every day, 3 times a day, you're posting things about your body shop. Yeah. Eventually, everyone's going to unfollow you.
Yeah. Okay, so I love it when I get someone from a body shop or any industry.
Some type of service industry.
Any service industry, it doesn't matter. And I get probably 1 or 2 a day, and the name of the person who is friending me is literally like ABC Body Shop. Yeah. And the picture is like a dented car, and all of their posts for the last few months are literally, come to my body shop, 50% off, or, it's just advertising.
Discounting their services?
Discount service. I'll fix your car for free almost. And I look at those posts and I feel bad for them. I really do. Yeah. And I feel bad because they don't understand what they're doing, and they don't understand it's so bad that they don't realize what they're doing is detrimental, because it's taking their time without getting any results. No one will ever go work at that body shop.
Well, I think the most interesting point you made during the workshop about how you can get more people to find your post relevant is literally, and this is what I didn't know you could do on Facebook. You can literally split up your friends list into different segments, and then tailor your post to those. So let's say you have friends, family, and realtors, and then let's say you want to reach out to realtors. Yeah. You can literally pick the realtors list, and only they will see that post.
Absolutely.
And if it's a post that is much more relevant to them, obviously you're going to have a lot more interaction, and it's going to go to the top.
You'll get more
of the
likes.
Rest of the audience.
You'll get more likes. You'll get more interaction. It'll go to the top. More people will see it, and now Facebook considers you to be a relevant person.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's some great advice.
We'll talk a little bit more on how you can actually turn those into leads and start buying, selling, or closing, whatever it is you're doing out there, but literally generating leads from this when we get back. You guys are on the Realty Ruckus. Stay tuned.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where if you chat with us during the show, we can answer your questions live on the air. Now, today's episode has been freaking phenomenal. Yeah, it's been really good. It's all about valuing yourself, giving yourself your right self-worth, and then we're actually giving you tips on how to make sure that the services that you're providing are giving you the level of service that you want to be giving to charge what you want to be charging.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we just want to jump right back into it. So before we went off for the break, for anyone who was listening or anyone who's just catching us at the end of the show, we were talking about breaking up your friends list into groups and segments on things that might be relevant to them.
Yeah.
And then if you're going to post something, you can always pick that group of friends and segment and say, okay, well, I want this one to go to these people specifically. And that way you're not just bombarding people with things that are irrelevant to them and losing your following, because that's the whole part of social media is you want to create a following and not lose it, and you can actually lose your following.
Perfect example of that in terms of the real estate world is an agent who goes out and makes friends with all of my agent friends.
Yeah.
Right? Because I collect agent friends. Why? Because I'm a broker and I want to always be working with new agents and recruiting new agents to come work with us. So let's say one of our agents goes in, collects all of my agent friends. He just adds all of my agent friends. Now he's friends with all of those people.
Yeah.
And then that person, that agent, that new agent, makes a post and says, I would love to be able to help you with your real estate. Please call me this and that or the other. Right? Probably not the best post to make, period. No. But he makes that post and it shows to an audience full of realtors. Well, what are those realtors going to do? You think they're going to like that post, or you think they're going to be like, man,
a few of your good friends will, people from your brokerage maybe, and that's it.
Not even. I mean, if you're a real friend and you work with that person, you should be like, hey, you probably shouldn't make that post, you know? Unless you're literally making that post to your friends and family or the small circle that really, really trust you. You just kind of maybe want to remind them that you're there for them as a real estate agent. You don't really want to make that post if it's going directly towards realtors.
It doesn't make sense.
They don't want to see it all the time. They don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
And shout out to our listener, Evelyn Martinez. She says, give value to your audience. And we're talking now about how to specify your audience.
Yeah.
And the engagement will come naturally.
Exactly. But, okay, so let's talk about how to give value to the audience. And, you know, what things can you bring to your audience to provide value for them?
And this is going to be Alan's tip of the day, actually. It's how to provide value to your audience.
Yeah.
If we're jumping into the last segment, why not?
It. Let's talk about how to provide value to your audience. If you think about what
I didn't even realize we were in the last segment.
If you think about what we do, I mean, one of the reasons why we do a show is to provide value to our audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the reasons why we're literally telling you this is to provide value to our audience. So you want to think about it in terms of what does your audience want to know more about?
Yep.
What does your audience actually need? They don't need another advertisement. They don't need to see your face on a billboard or a shopping cart. What they need is they need access to information that they cannot find by searching it on Google.
Yes.
Yep.
And if they can find it on Google, then you're not providing real value.
Yeah.
So what do they actually need? Well, let's think about what a buyer needs if you're representing buyers. Well, they need to know how to get pre-approved or who to talk to or what steps they're going to have to overcome.
What does the home buying process actually look like?
What are some of the ways to overcome some common objections or some common problems or whatnot?
Yeah.
What the hell's an inspection? What goes on during it? Why do I need an appraisal? There's
and with a lot of like
questions.
first-time home buyers, and this is not everybody, I'm just saying there's a lot of them like that. They want to know that they're going to be cradled, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It's that they're going to be really well taken care of and that you've got all the answers that they could possibly need. Because I talked to someone the other day and they were like, look, I'm getting ready to do my first home purchase and I've got like 20 grand saved up. Is that going to be enough? And I'm like, oh yeah, man, like that's more than enough saved up. Yeah. But a lot of people don't even know the very first steps. So they want to make sure that whoever they're talking to can take them from the point A, literally from nothing, all the way to the end of the transaction.
Exactly. And let's talk about sellers. What do sellers want to know about?
I mean, you could probably recommend them a great contractor to do a few repairs here and there for the house. I'm sure that's something that's hard and valuable because you don't really know. People are always scared. Can I trust this contractor?
Let's talk about let's think about it this way. Even if you're not targeting buyers or sellers, even if let's say you're targeting your sphere of influence. Let's say your main group of people on your Facebook page are your friends and family and their friends and family. Yeah. And that should be your main sphere of influence. How do you target them without targeting them? How do you let them know what value you bring to the table?
I think one, and this is how you create your following, you have to make sure that you're not always pressing your services down their throat.
It's not about pressing your services. That's what I'm trying to say.
That you really want to show them that you're actually a genuine, real human being who has a family like they do, who's got, like in your case, you've got kids, and all the things that are real about you. That's what people love to see in the people that they work with.
If you look at my Facebook page, when I post a picture of my family and I get the most likes out of that post than anything else that I'll throw out there.
Because almost anyone can relate to that.
Because people can relate to it. And people want to know that they're dealing with a real person.
Yeah.
If you're letting people know about your discounted services every day, you're probably not going to be one that they contact. But if you're letting people know about how you overcame a problem for someone, how you helped them achieve something, how you got them in contact with the right person or did something to really, really help someone out, now you're the person that they're going to look at as the king or queen of the industry within their small social sphere. And you're the person that they're going to contact every time.
Yeah, and I think the other part that's really important is that you don't always have to be the one initiating the initial social media post. If you have a client that just did a closing and you're close enough with them, just have them put the post out there and tag you in it.
Yeah.
So that
that's a whole lot more valuable.
Yeah, that shows way more value because it's not you now pressing your services down anyone's throat. It's someone else advocating on your behalf saying, I enjoyed my experience with this person so much. I'm willing to post about it on my Facebook where I only post personal things about myself.
Well, and here's the deal. I'll give you guys a tip about that then. If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
That's basically how that works. So let's talk about some of the events that we have coming up because we have a lot of them in the upcoming few weeks.
Well, okay, so let's talk about the events coming up next week. On the 27th, we have Capital Concepts, their networking mixer, again at Chapman and Kirby. That starts at 5:30 and goes until 8:30. And then I know we also have a happy hour coming up through NAREP. Yeah. And that's going to be on Wednesday, June 28th. And if you're a member, that's free to get in, correct?
It's free to get in if you're a member. If you're not a member, it's $10. It's going to be a great time, though. The last time we had this, El Tiempo was packed.
Yeah.
How much is a NAREP membership?
It's $49.
Yeah.
So $49, and I can save my $10 then.
Yeah.
So I just get a NAREP membership, and I can go to the happy hour for free.
You really might as well get a NAREP membership.
There you go. Yeah.
This organization is bringing so much value to the community right now that you almost don't want to not have one. You're like the kid that's like not cool if you don't have one. You know. So yeah, I would definitely get one. We have a couple of really amazing events coming up with NAREP, and you guys will definitely want to take part of those, including July 18th with Ted Jones coming in, giving us a mid-year forecast of what's happening with the real estate market.
Phenomenal. That's
Ted Jones sells out every time he's here because he brings real value to the table.
Yes, he
tells
does.
you exactly what's going to happen in real estate, and either you're there or you're missing out on the information and not making any money.
Yeah, that's true. All right, and then the following, so this is the 27th, then the 28th, and then on the 29th, we have a Houston Housing Roundtable at 50 Watt Drive near downtown. And what's going to be going on there, Alan?
All right, so this is going to be a really cool event. The Houston Housing Roundtable, this is targeted for Houston professional realtors, loan officers, to learn about all of the different programs available.
Now, this is the event with Olga, correct? Yes.
And there are some great programs.
So, you needed to be registered for this event, so make sure you go on there.
You have to register for. It's free, but you have to register, and it more than likely is real close to being sold out.
Yes.
There's all of the big banks will be there, letting us know what programs they have. There's also going to be a lot of community programs that are going to be available for you to learn about how you can use those to help your clients.
Yeah.
And then, of course, some of the larger organizations like NAREP will be there to talk about how you can be involved and how you can use these organizations to help your business grow.
Yeah. That sounds like a great time, and I definitely encourage any agents out there to register. And then the other event that I wanted to mention is actually in July. It's July 26th, but it's White Picket Realty's Segway Tour of Houston.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome event. So we're going to be taking our team out, and then we're also looking for any agents that are interested in just learning a little bit more about what it takes to join Team WPR, what it's like being on the team, and what we offer. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite and on the Houston Real Estate Events page. Come out, have some fun with us, enjoy some lunch, and Jeff Emerson with AMI Lenders, he's going to be treating us to lunch as well. So that's going to be, we'll get to learn a little bit more about some unconventional financing for any buyers you might have out there.
Yeah, that's really, really going to be a cool event. The last time that we did this, everyone thought that we were all going to be falling or whatnot. You would be surprised how easy it is to ride one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. It's like second nature, man. You get on it, and within 2 or 3 minutes, you're cruising out.
It's awesome,
full speed.
man. It's a great event because they tour you through downtown. They show you all the really, really cool sites, give you some history. So if you're a realtor, you probably want to know this stuff anyway. Yeah, and you get a chance to hang out with us.
Look,
so that's the other cool part.
That's the good part.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the best events. I love the Segway Tours.
Awesome. So, all right, any other events that we have coming up?
That's it for now.
Oh, what about that White Picket Happy Hour? Do we have another one coming up?
That's until August.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping ahead because I enjoyed it so much this time, man.
I freaked out. I was like, what happy hour?
Which one?
Gosh.
Which one? Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Realty Ruckus. Don't forget to keep up your ruckus, and we'll see you next time.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.